Good morning, friends. As we close out yet another work week and we anticipate coming together for another Lord's Day, I just want to share one final thought regarding the meek. And that's just one little detail about the earth that the meek will inherit. Because blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And we mentioned this past Sunday that the meek, by virtue of their submission to the plan and purpose of God, may have to endure hardships, suffering, and even in some cases death at the hands of the wicked here on this earth. And yet when we go to Revelation chapter 21, we get a glimpse at the earth that the meek will inherit. We read, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more." And then John goes on to describe the new Jerusalem descending out of heaven, which is the bride of Christ. But here we see the introduction to the concept of a new heaven and a new earth, and then immediately the detail that there was no sea in this new earth. And that detail seems to come out of nowhere. And that might leave us wondering why that particular detail was so important to fit in right off the bat, even though John doesn't really dwell on it. He just makes sure that we understand it, and then he moves on. And I've often thought about this, especially because I kind of like the sea. Now, in full disclosure, some of you might remember from me sharing in the past that the sea actually does kind of scare me. I'm not a strong swimmer. It's hard to see too far down into the water, and the waves are just so powerful as they come crashing in against the shore. But also, I thought, hey, once I'm in my glorified body, I won't be afraid, and I'll certainly be a stronger swimmer. and maybe we won't even need to breathe in the same way we do now. So maybe I could explore the depths of the sea without fear and without limit, and I can just rejoice in God's creative power and all the beauty of fish and corals and all that kind of awesome stuff. But then we read here that there is no sea on the new earth, and my initial reaction when I first read that was actually one kind of sadness, because, hey, well, there goes my dream of exploring the bottom of the sea without fear. Well, since my initial thoughts on that, I've learned and come to realize that the book of Revelation is just loaded with illustrations based on Jewish culture and Jewish experience. As might be fitting for a book largely intended for a Jewish audience. And this reference to the sea is one of those cases, because for the Jewish person, really for the Jewish nation, pretty much throughout its history, the sea was ominous and foreboding, the source of both violent weather and violent enemies. The sea then became a symbol of both chaos and danger. Now, on the other hand, as far as bodies of water go, rivers were seen as sources of peace and life. So seas were chaotic and dangerous, but rivers were peaceful and life-giving. And what does Revelation 21 present us with? A new earth, a world with no sea at all, but a river of life flowing out of the midst of God's people. And so the Lord is stressing through these visions given to the Apostle John that the earth his people will inherit will be all peace, all life, all sustenance and joy and confidence. And there will be no more chaos there, no more enemies, no more threats of destruction. His people will no more ever again be overwhelmed by the wicked, enemies from the sea, so to speak. And it's my prayer that the knowledge that this is our inheritance, and that inheritance is secure, that means that we can stand all the more resolute against the breakers of the wicked here in this life. For this earth is temporary, but the new earth to come, our inheritance, will endure forever. So let's keep that in mind, be joyful and stand fast, full of the peace of the life to come, knowing that our God is good and faithful and He will bring it. So have a good and godly day, and if the Lord wills, I'll very much look forward to seeing you on Sunday.